Thunder rolled overhead as Alex finished repairing the broken fence. Karen stormed across the yard, waving papers aggressively in the air. Alex remained calm, observing her wild gestures without showing frustration. Karen yelled loudly, claiming the HOA had authority over his property. Neighbors peeked nervously from windows, sensing confrontation escalating dangerously fast. "I'm calling 911, Karen screamed, her face flushed with entitlement. Alex sighed quietly, reaching for his jacket without moving angrily. She dialed the police, ignoring every polite warning he offered calmly. Karen's HOA papers fluttered in the wind, useless outside her imagination. Alex walked toward the porch, keeping a safe yet confident distance. "This is my home," he said firmly, voice steady but low. Karen laughed mockingly, thinking her phone call would instantly resolve everything. Within minutes, the distant sound of sirens echoed through the street. Alex watched silently as Deputy Ramirez's car approached the property cautiously. Karen greeted them theatrically, holding papers like a weapon in her hands. "This man is trespassing," she yelled, pointing directly at Alex. Ramirez stepped out, scanning the yard with professional suspicion clearly. Alex calmly showed identification, a badge tucked discreetly inside his jacket. Karen gasped loudly, clearly unaware of Alex's former law enforcement credentials. He smiled faintly, knowing the truth would soon settle dramatically. Ramirez frowned, unsure how to interpret conflicting claims from both parties. Karen insisted the HOA could evict anyone without question immediately. Alex explained calmly that HOA authority ends where private property begins. Karen's face reddened with disbelief, shaking papers violently at the deputy. Neighbors whispered, some secretly rooting for Alex's inevitable victory quietly. Ramirez asked for proof, reviewing Alex's property documents carefully and thoroughly. Karen stomped impatiently, yelling, "This isn't how things are supposed to work." Alex remained calm, taking deliberate steps closer to Karen cautiously. He produced his retired badge, flashing it briefly without intimidation. Karen froze, realization dawning slowly on her shocked expression immediately. You're a cop?" she stammered, voice trembling from surprise. Alex nodded calmly, explaining he now handles situations like this personally. Ramirez stepped back slightly, respect forming in his eyes quietly. Karen tried to argue, but her voice cracked under tension. Alex warned gently she must leave immediately or face legal consequences. Karen's HOA friends gasped, realizing their assumed power was meaningless here. Alex moved forward deliberately, keeping tone firm and authoritative. "You've harassed me repeatedly," he said, referencing long documentation meticulously. Karen blinked rapidly, realizing the tide of power had shifted completely. Ramirez observed quietly, weighing the credibility of Alex's claims carefully. Karen attempted to retreat, planning to call for backup frantically. Alex blocked her subtly, ensuring compliance without unnecessary aggression. He gestured toward the police officer, reinforcing the seriousness of the warning. Karen froze entirely, noticing she was the one now at risk. Neighbors peeked from blinds, fascinated by the dramatic power reversal unfolding. Alex explained calmly, "Any further harassment and legal action will follow swiftly." Karen's lips trembled, clearly considering the consequences of her arrogance. Ramirez nodded subtly, acknowledging Alex's authority and competence, silently. Karen muttered under her breath, retreating reluctantly toward her car quickly. Alex followed her eyes carefully, ensuring she left without resistance. HOA members whispered in shock, unable to challenge his authority convincingly. Karen sped away, muttering threats she could no longer enforce legally.
Alex
exhaled slowly, tension finally leaving his body gracefully. Ramirez approached, offering a nod of professional respect quietly. "Impressive handling," he said softly, shaking his head at the situation. Shh. Neighbors emerged cautiously, applauding silently behind closed curtains discreetly. Alex returned to his yard, fixing the fence without haste or anger. Karen called repeatedly, but he ignored her foolish, frantic attempts. Ramirez reminded Alex to file harassment reports, offering procedural advice politely. Alex nodded, preparing documentation for future security, confidently and thoroughly. Karen drove off finally, realizing her influence held no real weight. HOA friends whispered angrily, plotting futile schemes she could no longer execute. Alex secured his property, checking locks and cameras cautiously once again. Neighbors smiled quietly, feeling protected by his calm yet powerful presence. Alex made a quick call, notifying authorities about potential HOA violations. Ramirez stayed for a few moments, ensuring the property was fully secure. Karen's voice echoed faintly through the phone, angry but powerless completely. Alex documented the entire encounter, photographs and timestamps ready for records. Members realized late that evening they underestimated him severely. Alex sipped water, watching sunset fade into an orange, peaceful horizon. Karen tried plotting her next move, but every plan faltered immediately. Ramirez reviewed his notes, impressed by Alex's strategic, nonviolent approach. Neighbors whispered gratitude, knowing someone finally stood up firmly and legally. Alex reviewed surveillance, identifying every moment of Karen's harassment carefully. HOA members called repeatedly, but Alex refused to respond unnecessarily. Karen's calls went unanswered, frustration mounting with every futile ring. Alex continued repairs calmly, maintaining a strong, composed aura around him. Ramirez left finally, giving one last nod of approval subtly. Karen realized fully that law enforcement credentials cannot be ignored. Neighbors came outside slowly, showing appreciation discreetly through waves and smiles. Alex filed harassment reports, making legal documentation airtight and indisputable. Karen attempted last-minute retaliation, but emails bounced with official warnings. HOA members muttered quietly, finally acknowledging they could not challenge him. Alex smiled faintly, satisfaction evident but calm as always. Ramirez called later, confirming everything was handled professionally and correctly. Karen drove away in defeat, humiliation visible in every movement. Alex watched silently, satisfied by peaceful resolution without unnecessary violence. Neighbors slowly emerged, showing respect for his measured authority sincerely. HOA members left murmuring, realizing their petty control had failed completely. Alex locked his property, finalizing security and peace meticulously. Evening settled softly, leaving neighborhood calm and tension-free at last. Alex watered his garden, reflecting on justice delivered quietly and correctly. Karen tried one final call, but voicemail received her desperate threats. Ramirez confirmed legal proceedings would prevent further harassment immediately. Alex smiled faintly, knowing home, safety, and respect were finally restored.